every fuel cost obviously was about double of what it was. That one specifically, we spent a lot more. Uh, as far as the breakdown of exactly what each vehicle got in it and everything, I don't know.
Don't know, okay.
Do we still log over miles on each vehicle?
They're supposed to be.
They need to be.
They
Yeah.
do, they do.
And we need to,
Yeah,
Brendan needs to start giving it to us every
I
month.
mean, the city guys log each pickup.
Yes, they put the mileage on their cars down, they write it on the sheet, it's in a mailbox, once they're at the gas pump, and write it down.
I'm just, I know, not counting diesel fuel, that our gas is that high for a month. It just blows my mind, $10,000 for a month, and Brendan even agreed, it was at the same time, but $10,000 for a month, and we don't have any, we got a 15-mile radius. Not counting diesel fuel, when they take the roll-off truck.
Are you, when you say 10,000 a month, you're talking about all the, not just the collection, right? You're
No,
talking
yeah,
about
and the whole
yeah.
city. I mean, it's just,
Yeah,
still,
it
yeah.
is.
I mean, you got city trucks that shouldn't leave a mile radius of the barn over
Yeah.
here. And we spend $10,000 a month on fuel?
Yeah, I mean,
We gotta nip that somehow, figure out where it's going, and if we got somebody come over there at night helping us with our gas pump, I mean, something's gotta give.
Now, there's ways of doing that, Apple IDs and
Oh, yeah.
other services, they're out there to actually track mileage on stuff. But I don't know if we wanna get in that now, but I understand stuff went up, but when I seen that 40K, I was like, that's a pretty big increase.
and I will say, I don't know that this is the case on this one, on the budget, cause I wasn't here when this,
Okay.
budget was put in. This was, when Amanda was still here. But I do know there was a couple of items that was budgeted in 2022 that in the budget, like one of them was, utilities for, I wanna say it's police department, was like $200.
Mhm.
Well, we know an annual budget for utilities is way more than $200, for the year. And I think it was supposed to be 2,000. I don't know if that's the case here on that, because I wasn't here. But there has definitely been a
To me,
distinct
$8,000 seems very unreasonable too.
it seems low, that's why I was saying.
Now, who comes up, alright, I'm new, y'all just bear with me.
You're fine.
I'm just looking at the police, I don't really have any questions on the police department budget, it seems to be one of the easier ones. But does Jeremy Hunt come up with a budget, do the department heads come up with a budget for each? Like he'd be the chief of police, does Jeremy Hunt present this budget to you?
No, so,
Okay.
so the way the budget is derived is basically it takes, now each of the department heads will come to me. I ask each of them before I start working on the budget in September, into September, I say, I need to know if there's items in 2023 you're gonna need to replace. Police cars or equipment, uniforms, things that may need replaced. And so they'll say, yes, I need this or that, and we'll try to see if it'll fit in there, and I go back and forth with them on that. Now, with this particular budget, all I did was basically take what was approved from last year, looked at what was spent, and I adjusted accordingly. So there's some items where I budgeted down, cause we're not spending that much, and it's probably items that we probably can actually eventually probably just wipe off there, but there's some items, for instance, equipment repair and maintenance under the police department, they budgeted 3,000 but only spent 278. I don't think it's a good idea to wash that all the way back to
No.
500, because repairs can happen.
Oh, yeah.
And so, I kept it at 3,000.
I say like on the fuel, I'm just gonna say on fuel again, on the police department, the $15,000. I mean, that's nothing, that's not, 15,000 won't cover a year.
Yeah, you wouldn't, but we only spent 15,513.
Yeah, but they're again,
Yeah.
I don't believe these numbers, or $13 over 15,000, but yet we spend $10,000 a month on fuel. You think the patrol officers would be using the fuel?
How many patrol cars do we got?
9?
Nine, I believe.
9 or 10? Maintenance guy, I just checked Maine, I think they got 8.
Of course, your patrol cars are gonna get a lot better fuel mileage than your trash trucks.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I'm not, yeah, this
You
fuel
know.
is not, when I say fuel, I'm not talking, it's just gasoline.
Yeah,
It's not diesel fuel. When I said the $10,000, that's not diesel fuel. That's just gas.
well, I think, my understanding, unless there's something, Mayor, you might correct me, I think when they put fuel on this budget, my understanding from the notes from Sherry was that that included diesel and gas.
Everything, I think.
Okay, yeah. That was my understanding from Sherry.
Well, I mean, where do they fill the trash trucks at? They can't get them out of the gas pump over here.
We've got diesel.
We got a diesel pump over there too? I wish the life of, when we didn't have them pumps over there.
How big's that tank over there? Does anybody know?
I can't make public comment because of the meeting, but if I'm asked a direct question, I can,
Go
if the
ahead.
mayor allows, I'll answer.
I'll allow, go ahead.
The transfer station has its own diesel tank and it's 1,000 gallons.
Okay.
However, the pump that's on it is aged and it's mechanical.
Gotcha.
Well, it's electric, but it's not digital, it's not dead accurate. It's a 100-gallon tank on that new truck. I can run 5, maybe 6 loads out of it, and I mean, the light comes on and it says you're running out, and it'll take 98 gallons. Well, I know I didn't pump 98 gallons. There's no way there's only 2 gallons left in that tank, so I think it's plus or minus 5% maybe. It's not dead accurate. And until recently, it was pretty easily accessible if you wanted to go in there in the dark with a can and just unscrew the top, that instead of taking the lock off when they fill it, Littlefields just unscrews the whole fitting and fills it, and then the lock and everything intact, you can just screw it back on. They have since replaced it with a float They that did it. measures, but it's about $4,300 to fill that up. The last ticket I saw, we sucked it dry basically. It was just drawing air. It's $4,300. The one before that, I think was $3,700.
And I know we can't predict commodities, but I'd like to see us budget fuel and utilities a little bit better. I know that you can't predict the weather or gas prices, but we know they're not gonna go down.
No.
Not the way they were.
That's what I was wondering was this time last year, weren't gas prices like crazy high?
Don't get me lying to you, I can't
Well,
remember.
and then they started going down this summer, so, and then this last fall, they got, back down to $2 a gallon versus $4.25 a gallon last year. So,
And that depends on what you contracted with Littlefield. If they're selling you a contract price or if you are buying their pump price. At the time, even small carriers will even work with other groups and buy their fuel wholesale at locked in prices. Pump price at Lowe's might be $5.49, but that carrier has locked it in at $4.50.
Okay.
There's ways that you might be able to manipulate and control the market by negotiating a locked price, so just like your electric company does, we'll just give you your billing for the year, Just an idea on that.
Well, I mean, that's a good idea.
There's only 3 vehicles fuel out of that too, well, 4. The cardboard collection truck, the roll-off, garbage collection, and the backhoe when it needs it, so. It's a lot, and there's not much idle time on any of them.
No. I mean, it costs what it costs, but if we can plan, I mean, I know stuff happens, but and I'm not trying to beat anybody down or anything by any means, but my wife would have a fit if I said, hey, I'm going duck hunting tomorrow, I'm planning on spending $20 and I spent $50,000. that wouldn't go over too well. So, I don't know how to approach it since the department, I would like in the future, if we could talk, I don't know if we can talk department heads, but get them with you more, saying, hey, this is how many hours, this is how much fuel we burn, and maybe try to project that a little bit better in the future, cause that's all we can do is just try.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just shooting in the dark.
Right,
I mean, Brad said he took last year's and tried to work with it from last year and compared them, but the year before that was shot in the dark, and the year before that was shot in the dark.
So it's hard to even.
I mean, I'm telling you, for the last 3 years, I've not voted for this budget. It's crazy.
Well, the last several years, 5 or 6 years, it's just been a copy of the previous year's budget. And that's why I went in and adjusted, and did talk with the department heads. So like, the police department, we were 513 over that budget, but like Jeff was saying, fuel prices toward the end of the year started going down. So we talked about it, said we'd probably carry over the same budget and stay pretty close. We can always raise that, that's what the meeting's for. We can, some of them, if you'll notice, like on street budget, we talked and they felt like that they would probably end up increasing. So you can see a little bit of increase there on the fuel.
5,000 on fuel on that.
Yeah, cause it went from 7 up to 11,134, 41.34 increase, and we went ahead and bumped it on up another, 860 bucks, but that's how we came about it, was those discussions, looking at what was spent. And that's how when you look at a budget, you go month by month, we have this financial report that we walk through each month. It gives us an idea of what the expenditures were, where the ups and downs were throughout the year. If we see a trend versus just a rare spike, cause sometimes, if like in your personal budgets, there might be a month where utilities just spikes real high because of whatever. For instance, my house, my utilities bumped up $200 on electricity because we had to run heat pump 24/7 when we had that cold snap. You know what I'm talking about?
I went from 190 to 450.
Yeah, that's exactly. And so there's those rare one-offs, but then there's also trends that sometimes you see, okay, wait a minute, we're starting to see a spike, and that's what we try to catch, and adjust for, or claw back on, say, hey, we wanna watch this a little closer. This seems a little bit odd that we're seeing this type of trend. We're not gonna be perfect in catching all of them, but we do watch for that. And that's what these financial reports are whenever they come out.
right.
Whenever I hand these out, I've went through these each month and looked at them to see, okay, is there an odd trend? And I may not catch all of them, but I try to look to see if there is, so that we're not just coming up to budget time and saying, hey, let's just throw this number down, because I agree, but that doesn't help anyone with anything.
Well, how come the water treatment plant, which has gotta go to the lake several times, is budgeted for 3,000 for fuel, and the wastewater plant, which goes to the wastewater plant, is 6,000.
What was the
Water treatment plant
expenditure?
and the fuel was, it was 2,500 for 2022, it's 3,000 this year for the water treatment plant, and then the wastewater, which is, don't have to leave a 2-mile radius.
Do they got backup Jennies out there or anything? But they probably wouldn't run, 5,000.
It's, we went up about $1,500. It went from 4,500 to, or 4,500 to 6,000 on fuel, $1,500, and I don't know where we're going. Is that counting their fuel when they mow with, or, because, I don't know.
They use big equipment to mow out there, like
Tractor, just a Kubota.
just a Kubota.
I mean, I think it's a diesel, so. Kubota, I'll last a month on tank diesel. I don't know.
So are you asking why
Why the water plant, which has got to travel, I mean, they're all over town. They moved to the pumps and the wastewater don't go nowhere.
yeah, I see that I don't, and that's one thing I'm not sure is what, you know, in some of them, yeah, I'm sure what vehicles are tied to that. And, you know, police cars are obviously police department, and, but like in here,
Well, we should just have one truck at the wastewater plant. A 3/4 ton Chevy, probably about a 2010 model. And they Kubota, which I don't know if Billy's got a lawn, what we got out there, riding lawnmower? I mean, I know
Yeah.
John Dave and them have to go to the lake all the time. I say I'm going to come, well, I'm not there fishing, they're out there coming and going. And I mean, it's just simple things like that I don't understand why the budget is the way it is. I just don't get it.
yeah, I'd have to find out what vehicle that, like that 5518 on the wastewater is going into. And then the 2879 on the water treatment plant.
I guess what bothers me more about the budget, and it has for years, the last few years, is it's so out of hand that they don't have to come, when they need something to buy something, they don't come to council. They've got a free will, open checkbook,
Well,
and nothing until it's bought and paid for, and we know about it.
well, that's the idea of a budget. The other option would be for the council to have desks up here, and every time a check needs written, you guys would have to approve it, and that's not
We
feasible.
could do that, we've done it before.
That's not feasible at all. How many of you could come up here and sit 24 all day during work hours?
You don't
Donna,
have
can
to
you?
sit all day.
You would if there's something that has to be bought.
No, you wouldn't, just call one of us.
No, you have to have a meeting to approve it legally.
Okay, all these years, we've done everything illegal.
You've decided every single line item on this financial statement.
Well, you're telling me that all these years, we've done everything illegal until just now?
No, but you're telling me that you guys have had a desk up here in
No, we
person,
didn't have a desk up
took
here.
minutes, made an approval, voted on it, and said each line item that's done.
Well, I tell you, I will not vote on this budget like I did the last time, because it's out of hand.
What's out of hand about it?
It's crazy numbers.
You realize this is a municipality and not a small mom and pop restaurant though, right?
Yes, I do, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I wanna make sure
Yeah,
because,
I understand that. I have known that for years.
okay. Because it takes more than, it takes a lot of money to run a
I
city.
realize that.
Yeah.
I guess you think I'm green to this.
Well, no, but you're asking questions like you are.
No, I'm not. I'm trying to center it through that this is crazy numbers.
What's crazy on the numbers?
Okay, what's our total budget for the year? Total city budget for the year?
The total number?
Yep.
Well, let's look at it and add it.
I'm just asking because these numbers are crazy. And you take all
I
that,
mean-
all that free money that we got last year and take it out of the budget and see where we're at.
And some of that's gonna go.
There's
I mean, we're-
359,000 gone, the American Act money, you can't count that in your budget.
No, ever again.
Well, no, there's money that's still in that we
We
can
should have
spend.
about $3 million in our account.
We have at the end of the year, we had 2.7 million in the account, but that's everything. That's general account.
That's
the
what I meant
American
when I said
Rescue,
everything.
everything. Huh?
That's what I meant when I said everything in the budget,
Well, yeah,
everything in our account.
yeah, 2.7 million is what we have in our banks right now to operate with.
What's,
Plus the revenue that comes in 2023. which last year,
70,000 times 12,
just the, just
almost $1 million
on,
just in Tyson.
so you got that on top of that, that's revenue,
Okay.
income.
I guess what I'm getting at, if we ever got in a pickle and the city of Waldron got sued, we ain't got enough money to get out of it.
Well, how much money do you want,
Well,
or you
depends
want to
how much
see?
the lawyer's asking for.
Well, I'm saying how much, I mean, if we operate with a lot more in revenue at the end of the year than a lot of cities our size and bigger. So I'm not sure, that's what I'm saying, I'm not sure what, and you're discussing revenue, which is a good thing, that's money that's coming in. So we're carrying over 2.7 million from last year into 2023, which if you added, let's say the same amount, which it won't be because we won't have a couple, the one grant coming in on top of it, but let's say you take 776,000 off of that, which is double the grant, and say 2 million, you've got 4.7 million that you're gonna operate with.
Where did our revenue come from, other than Tyson, and just the average Joe user?
Our revenue comes from, of course, the water is where a huge amount of our revenue comes in, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why we do the, each year we do what we do with the water, because it's, and then your revenue comes in from, you've got revenue coming in, if you look, you've got revenue coming in from, fire protection, general turnback, money that comes in from the state. We've got revenue that comes in, we have revenue that comes in from grants throughout the year outside of the American Rescue. We have fees and
But those
permits.
are, we can't bank on those grants. That's what I'm getting at, you can't bank on a grant.
Well, no, you can't bank on it, but
I mean,
We've already got-
especially in federal money.
we've already got one coming in that's 25,000 of that 50,000
For what?
for Jeremy's police radios.
Oh, that was you talked about that October? That's one you talked about in October?
No, this grant he just got. The radios he talked about in October, cause he thought we was gonna pull it out of American Rescue, which is what it was approved for. And then he turned around in December and found a grant for it and was able to get them covered without having to pull it out of American Rescue. So you are right, you can't count on grants, and technically you can't count on any of it, you know, if you have a pandemic or something, it does affect the whole thing as well. But the idea of a budget is you're projecting revenue and costs to come as close to what you think is going to come in versus what's gonna go out. And that's all this is a projection of what we're seeing.
Aren't you being awful quiet over
Hey, well, I do have a question on the fire radios. Is that gonna alternate with the pagers as well, or do y'all know?
Do you know on that?
The
These were
narrowband
just
should,
money
the
for-
narrowband should, actually on the narrowband, if they get the app, which I know a lot of people don't like app, they'll go to your app, send a text, and you can do pagers, if they do it right.
And actually, I think he did say when we signed up on the service, their pagers were already A-Win pagers.
Okay.
They were adaptable. It was the car radios that we ordered or getting ready to order when that money comes in. So yes, they'll be adapted.
Okay, I got a question, this is already set in stone, I don't have nothing to do with it. But, like you said, department head, Jeremy does his budget, or somebody does it for him?
So we take what was budgeted from the previous year. I go to him and I sit down with him and I say, okay, Jeremy, this is what we did, this is what you spent this year. Are there any additional things that need to be added, anything that needs to be, that we're not doing, like for instance, the K9, we're not doing that, so that's just pulled out, things like that.
Yeah.
And so we adjust it that way, so, collaboratively, we sit down and put it together. And just to clarify, you know, you said it's set in stone. This is not set in stone. If you guys have suggestions on adjustments anywhere in this, before it's approved, we can approve it with those adjustments, and then I'll give the final copy to everyone in the February meeting. Or you can pick it
So,
up
so
before.
this coming year, when I'm really into this, so, cause you get your budget in what, October, November, maybe?
I start working on it then. It has to be presented to you in December is when it's presented.
So, do y'all ever go sit down and read line item by line item out, you know? You know what I'm saying, I mean,
Yeah.
so you could say, why don't we change this?
For the whole year, no, not at that point, but each month when I run the financials, if I see, I do a scan through there, and if I see something that seems a little bit out of whack, or the council sees something and they say, hey, what's this? Then I go back and say, okay, what's this? And so we do, cause if you'll notice, I don't know if you have it with you, but there's actually a bank register that's listed in your financials each month that shows every line item that's spent for that.
Okay,
For
I
that
mean,
month.
I just know sometimes you sit down and you sit down with Jeremy per se, and go through his line item, and then you say, can you do a little bit less, can you do a little bit more, and you write it in, and then same way with the street department with
Yes.
Brandon, and, I mean, and then we're not in here in January and February worrying about this, we got it passed in December.
So Jeremy, the fire chief, Charlie Allen with the wastewater, Mo with the street department, who does the transfer station budget? You might know,
Brandon's the one that I got with.
Okay.
do they not do their own budgets like Charlie and Millie?
So, no, Brandon gets the talks with them, gets their numbers, projections. But, I mean, they don't sit down and write out like that, they just, no.
But like I said, I know I'm talking about the future, and this is here right now facing us.
Yeah.
So to make life easier down the road, we should have the budget passed in December if we do sit down with department heads and do a line item read. You know,
Well-
it takes a couple hours to do a line item read, I understand that.
Well, if you're talking about line item, everything that's spent, it take weeks, that's why we do each month, I sit
No,
down
I
with
mean,
them.
just like the police.
But like the line items on this, yes, that's done with them.
But just like this right here, you know, this is projecting,
Mhm.
you know, I mean, his don't look too bad, you know. I see where, you know, he raised his, further education from 5,000 to 11,000.
Mhm.
You know, but I agree with that. If you send them to school and then they come out here on the streets and they utilize it,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? But if they just go to school to get a certificate, you know,
It's
you know
so-
where I'm coming from. You've been there.
Yeah, and so the line items on this, yes, these are sit down with them and gone over. As far as line items and asked, you know, where are you at on this? And so when I put down this calculated budget for 2023, that's not just me looking at some numbers transferring over, I've talked with the department
Right,
heads.
that's what I'm saying.
Yes,
so.
yes, that's done. That's what I'm doing in October when I reach out to them and they come in and we go over it. Now, I will say Brandon, handles as far as the, water, wastewater, transfer station and stuff. He gets with those, you know, all the heads in all those areas, and then we collaborate. I collaborate with him, but,
And then y'all need to make sure you collaborate with us.
well, that's what we do in December.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Mhm. Yeah,
You know, I wasn't at a budget meeting
Right.
in December.
Yeah.
So I didn't know
yeah,
how
that,
y'all did it, you know.
yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, that's what happens in December, it's given, to the council to review and look at.
Well, the first thing last year, we passed the budget, and in the same breath, we had to amend the budget and add $180,000. But remember that?
Yeah.
I mean, in the same breath. And that was, I think, your counterpart here before. I'm like, holy cow, we just passed the budget, and then $180,000 in the next breath, next sentence, we had to amend the budget. That's what I don't get, I don't understand having to amend the budget as soon as you pass it.
Yeah, no, that I don't understand
And
either.
Dave, you remember, cause
I remember, but I was thinking we amended the previous year.
no, it was last year, I mean, it was, we done something prior to that, but last year we had to amend it first right out of the box.
This may not have it.
So there's not anything in place here, I'm just saying the mayor wants to buy $100,000 trash truck, you know, I'm using that for an example. Does he not have to come to the
Yes,
council?
I do.
Oh, yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
You have like, you can spend $10,000 or whatever, 5,000, without coming to us, right?
right. Yeah, there's and I believe it
I
should
think
be.
it was used to when, we had one mayor, he's passed on now, but I think, he had like a $500 budget. And he couldn't send anything over $500, he'd get three council, cause he didn't want no spending sprees.
I mean, like,
Yeah, that's.
like the city bought I don't call it a mini excavator, cause it's quite a pretty big little excavator, right?
I didn't do that on my own.
Well, okay, I wasn't
That was
here,
American Recommend.
okay, you know, so, you know what I'm saying, I'm just
Yeah.
asking because I wasn't here and I'm trying to get,
Those items, so the American Rescue Act money, the way it was set up was the council had to decide on where that money was gonna be
yeah,
appropriated.
I heard them a few meetings
Yeah.
where they spent, you know, bought this and
Yeah.
bought that, but it,
Cause the report had to go into the state
Right.
ahead of time, we're doing this, and then
okay.
And
follow it.
he knows he could use it for his equipment.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a good deal, I mean, I seen this piece of equipment and it looks nice, you
Yeah.
know,
Much needed.
and so, you know.
The only thing I got is like I said, the consumables worry me a little bit, like the fuel. Is there like any accountability as far as, like, I ain't trying to point any fingers or say anything, but is there any type of, like, I know he sort of laid out, but I'm just saying other departments, is there anything like where they do random fuel checks? Hey, we should have.
Like an audit.
Yeah,
That's what I'm wondering, if you got a pickup,
Do you know if we do anything like that? Cause I'm not sure.
No, we've got the sign sheet anytime anybody gets gas, we're supposed to write down their gallons, their mileage on their vehicle, what vehicle
Truck
they
number.
put it in. The vehicle number, the vehicle they're putting it in.
well, then you could do an audit, you could go pick up number 10, pull down his mileage, his fuel that he used, find out if he's getting 8 miles a gallon or 20 miles a gallon, you know, and if he's getting 8 miles a gallon in a 20 mile a gallon truck, uh-oh.
I still.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. No,
I'm
you're
still
right.
to
not
have
really
that
happy
truck.
with
Well, I get, you
At
know,
least it's
hey, I got
a
one getting
good
23 miles a
I
gallon.
got one that get
Whatever
22
it
on
is.
the tree,
Yeah.
if I'm not pulling the trailer.
Right, but anyway, I'm just saying, if you pull one out and the darn thing's getting 8 miles a gallon because of your books, but you know it's getting 15, you know, there's some
Yeah.
fuel going somewhere.
There's no accountability.
There's no
anymore.
accountability
Yeah.
to it,
I'm with you, if you expect it, you inspect it,
you know, I mean, hey, I worked for the county 26 years. I built a dump truck, day one, I personally made me a log. Started off day one with the miles, the day ending with the miles, how much fuel I put in, if I had a flat, if I changed oil, how many miles it was when I changed oil. So I mean, it was pretty, at the end, this book was this thick, but
Yeah.
I had a history of it, but I would periodically go through there and check my fuel mileage, you know, to see if it didn't seem like it was running right, I'd check my fuel mileage against myself, and I'm getting 5.5 miles a gallon, you know, and it wasn't getting 3, you know, so I'm just saying I did that on my own, you know, but,
Yeah.
and I implemented that myself, so, and if y'all say you're keeping logs, I say periodically jerk
Look
one
at it.
out and check it, you know?
No, I'm not really wild about the police officers taking their cars home to way out yonder, wear and tear and, you know, gas and, do we pay for their gas to get them home and back to town?
I don't know
how's
where
that
the guy
fair to
lives.
somebody that lives right here in town? You know, it's like, I just don't think that's right. But we discussed.
Nothing's getting cheaper.
No, right now, gas is going back up close to $3 a gallon.
Yeah.
Instead of $2.15.
Which means diesel will be close to 5 before it's all said and done.
And it's 4 right now,
Yeah.
I mean, at the pump out there, so.
And I like how you up these, and that's sort of what I wanna see in the future, just making sure, cause if you plan better, you ain't worried about tomorrow. I mean, that's just, to me, when it comes to money, if we can plan, like I seen one in here for, I think it's a treatment center, it looked like their supplies went up. I guess that was chemical treatment from 45 to 78, operating supplies.
Where?
What's that?
Water
Which
treatment.
one? Water treatment?
On water distribution, I don't know, it said operating supplies.
It should have, distribution, that's built, that's not the water plant.
Well,
The water plant
I
is
mean, I
on-
wonder, I mean, is it, you know, it got marked up, you know, I like that, but that sort of stuff, if you know, but up there, it's got a capital outlay, we didn't spend any money, an ounce of prevention is better than 2 pounds of treatment.
Well,
And I don't know, is that talking about building as far as outlays? Cause in military, it's buildings or your outlays, as your capital outlays, or your runway, one or the other.
Yeah, so your capital outlay is gonna be your, physical property, whether it's a vehicle or a building or something like that.
And I wanna be a good steward of people's money, but if we can solve some stuff, that 35K going in and making something better than having to spend 80,000 on it in the future, it sounds pretty good to me.
well, let's switch gears, health insurance, say, the collection, it went from 26 to 35,000, made $9,000. When y'all's insurance, I know when our insurance goes up, my brother takes the brunt. He takes the hit, keep our insurance out of pocket down. Who's taking the brunt? Say Tom is paying $40 a week insurance out of his pocket. How much does it cost the city on their side?
So on family, it's 200 that the employee pays, and so the city's paying, is it 800?
Something like that.
But that just went up.
Did you say 800?
Mm-hmm.
And the insurance need to go up this year.
Yeah.
That's what the county does,
They pay
they pay 100%.
Yeah.
Just for the employee.
We pay 80%.
For the employee, right?
Right.
So,
We pay
For
80%.
For family or,
Yeah, so it's 80-20.
so wow, 200 to 800? We gotta figure something out with insurance.
No, you were saying that the employee pays 200 for it.
And we pay 800. This city.
Yeah, the same, they pay. big
Now, is that a month?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's for the family, yeah.
Yeah. It's,
That's what I'm saying.
it's high.
Well, insurance, I mean, it ain't the employee's fault, it ain't the city's fault, it's insurance.
Right.
But, I mean, we gotta look at something to do with insurance. Either, because their salaries are getting on up there now. If you pay their salaries and they pay their insurance, it ain't a bad deal.
With some of them,
Yeah. a lot
depending
of
on
them.
which ones. You know,
I know
but yeah,
my insurance went up this year. Blue Cross Blue Shield.
the ones that have
It did
just
go up
started the
that
last
much.
year or two, it's gonna be a huge
You
benefit.
got insurance in the military, you still got your insurance in the military, you ain't got Waytake insurance?
You got TRICARE, right?
Oh, yeah.
But you put in.
Well, we got the
years
same
ago.
insurance, Waytake's got the same, and y'all got
I can't remember who they
United
are.
Healthcare.
United Health through here.
We use
here we
municipal
use
league.
municipal league.
I wonder what you, I'd like to know the rates. But I mean, like, just this one department went up $9,000 on insurance,
Which one are you looking at?
collection.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, it's nobody's fault, people get sick,
Right.
people have heart attacks, and it makes your insurance go up. But this is not the city of the city of Waldron money, this is the city of Waldron citizens' money that we're dealing with. I mean,
I think we should, I mean, I know we use that one, but next open enrollment, it ain't gonna hurt nothing. We don't have to use municipal league, do we, by law?
mm-mm.
you don't
I
have-
say, I don't want to hurt their coverage. But a lot of times, if you shop around, you can find a better deal.
It's been several years ago, but the city did shop around one time, and to get the same coverage, nobody could compete.
Nobody can
Now, they
compete.
could give them a cheaper rate for a $2,000 deductible and
Yeah, we don't.
that kind of stuff.
The only thing I have to compare to that, to what I have now as far as insurance, is when I was, doing insurance sales through, telesales before I came on here. It was $600 and something for a family out of my pocket, and I think they paid 30% is what they paid. And the coverage wasn't close to what this one is, but I don't remember, I think that was Blue Cross Blue Shield, you know, there's
Yeah.
other companies, like you said, but that was a company that had 2,800 employees nationwide versus,
And I don't
Those
want to hurt
group here.
retention. Good benefits is a way to retain people,
It is.
quality people.
That's why you
I
want to come
mean,
to work.
15 paid holidays, insurance.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good way, but I think Dave brought up a good point in the fact of, I don't wanna hurt the coverage, but we don't know what's gonna happen in a year, stuff may change, we may find better deals. But I don't know when open enrollment starts, cause like I said, I'm on TRICARE. We're
Not
on-
May, I think.
December.
Well,
Well,
I think ours will wait till it's May.
Yeah, our open enrollment's December,
December.
but I don't think there's anything wrong with shopping around and just seeing
And
what is
I'm not
available.
saying that it's gonna save any money, but I'd sleep better at night knowing that we look, like I said, I don't wanna hurt their coverage, cause that'd
Yeah.
be the worst thing you can do somebody. Is say, oh, by the way, you had this coverage this year, next year,
Right.
you better hope you don't break an arm.
Well, I watched the county
Aflac.
20-something years ago. They had an agent that they were buying their insurance from, a local agent here. And Charlie's dead, gone, he can't tell me, but he went in and went directly to the insurance company. And day one, he saved the county $90,000 by getting United Healthcare versus going to a local agent, you know, and we still had good coverage, you know, I mean, all the years I was there, it was.
Who's all under distribution, water distribution? I mean, not no names, but employee, I know. Is that City Hall? I mean,
Need some at
The,
City Hall.
cause it's $40,000 for insurance.
yeah, I'm trying to remember who all is. I wanna say there's, and I may be wrong on this, I'm trying, for some reason the number 8 to 10 is what's coming to me that's on that, but I'm not 100%
Okay,
without looking.
how many is at the water plant? 6?
You got day shift and night shift,
Well, I mean, that's like 2 people.
weekends.
I think it's 6 or 7.
Okay, you got 50,000 at the water plant.
It might be more, and it might be, I'm not sure. I'd have to get a list and see, because I'm not 100% sure, I'm just guessing.
I mean, I hate to raise somebody, a user's rates just cause our insurance went up. Our city employees' insurance went up. That's just don't weigh out, I don't know, so I'm just throwing,
Yeah.
that can happen. I mean,
We could definitely shop it, you know, and see. I can make some calls and get some stuff, and we can look at, you know, what's available and start looking at if there's a way to get as good or better coverage for, you know, close to the same amount or less, and see what the options are. It never hurts to shop it and, you know, look at it. There's no harm in that.
And the older your employees get, the higher your insurance goes up, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it's nobody's fault.
I mean, that's
You
like when I
gotta
did the
look
county,
at it.
the average age down there was 60 years old, you know? And
Yeah,
Well, let's look at salaries right quick on any department, and just kind of waste salaries out. What we're paying yearly for salaries.
now remember, when you're looking at the actual 2022, that is through the end of November, so you've got one more month you've gotta
Okay,
count into that.
well, we don't have a monthly thing, our salary for a month. So like the police department, we salaries them, we budgeted them $500,000. And we have done $500,000 for 2023 again. I mean, we know that's, how many, that's 9 officers, 8 officers, 6, how many officers was it?
Is it
Nine.
9?
Are those 9 full-time?
And that includes Jeremy on there.
How many we got in the street department? 6?
That sounds right, but it,
Logan,
there's,
Logan.
see, I was still trying, cause I don't interact with them a lot.
I'm gonna say 6, that comes out of it, and we only got 82,000 for salaries in the, or 87 this year, we went up $5,000. Versus 6 with $500,000, or 9 with $500,000. And that's what I say, that,
Yeah, well, the salaries are just based, I mean, like that expenditure, that's just based on that salary schedule that was passed a couple years ago.
but for
whenever
the
it
new
was.
hires, cause we got one fixing to leave at the end of the month. And we got 1 or 2 that left last year. We shouldn't be hiring them back in at last year's 2021 salary, should be our budget. They should hire in at this budget at a lower rate, because they'll be, I guarantee you, they'll be at least $10,000 a year cheaper,
Yeah,
a new hire.
And the ones that's been there,
Yeah.
getting raise,
Getting what?
raise,
When we get a raise?
according to the salary schedule.
on their, yeah, on the anniversary, each person gets the,
Is that every year? I know we talked about it, but I don't remember it. But what I'm getting at is,
yeah, no, I mean, and you are right, I could've knocked off 20,000 off of that and made it 460 on the police department, for instance, instead of 500.
I mean, that's still crazy. That's still almost $360,000 more than salary than the other. I know them other 3 guys don't make $100,000 a year apiece in the street department. And some of them been there as long as some of the cops.
Well, I mean, the only thing you do on that is just review the salary schedule that's been set and look at it, cause I mean, the expenditures are just, Now, the salary, I will say this, one thing that is in this salary, and I probably should have had them pull it out in, Center Point before we did this. It does include the stipend they got, the $5,000 each stipend. So that 455, 323 includes, let's just say 9 officers at 5,000, 45,000 of that is gonna be from that stipend that they got from the state.
So it should be 410,000.
Right, yeah, or 405, yeah.
Who's in administration?
Administration.
Administration, yeah, water administration.
Water administration would be like,
2 people?
Carleva and Levada, I believe.
Okay, cause we got a budget for $100,000.
And I'm not sure what their exact salaries are, but I mean, they're,
I don't think that, neither one of them, Levada might, she's been there for, since.
40 years.
they both, yeah.
From Durban,
40 years, yeah.
They're making
Carleva,
over 50,000, right?
huh?
Levada might be, I doubt it.
Might be, I don't really know.
I doubt she makes over 50,000,
I doubt
but still yet,
And I don't know,
She makes more than 50,000.
I wouldn't think so. I don't have a salary sheet, but I'm.
and I can go grab, if you want me to grab the salary schedule.
We
make
have a
copy for
total.
everybody.
We have a total of $51,000 that she's paid annually.
Levada,
As of 2020, reported to public record, 51,
she makes
142.
more than Jeremy.
She's been here 40 years.
She deserved it.
Go ahead and
Yeah,
say
she
her
earned it.
again.
30 years.
And she was in doctorate, she was there.
I
She's
couldn't
been
put
a
up
long
with you
time.
for 2. She's
I mean, she was my dad's secretary. and that.
I mean, she looked, we had her 40th anniversary this year.
She can make more retiring than she can work. Really?
Well, she probably do pretty good on retirement, by the time they went on acres, it wasn't very long ago.
Yeah, I know, that's what I just heard, that they just went to April.
Insurance, you gotta have insurance.
If she'd been on acres back from the beginning, she'd be sitting pretty.
Oh,
It was just 8.
Yeah, I understand. So are any of the employees that are on APRS, are they contributory by law now, or when you hire them in, they have to,
They are
they have to be
like
contributory?
3% or something like
whatever,
that.
Yeah.
That, you know, that, when I hired on with APRS, you didn't have to,
Well, when I started with Lotfi, you didn't have to.
Right.
But
wish you could.
we went to legislature and wanted to advance, hire multiplier.
Right,
And they said, well, if you'll start paying this much,
right,
we'll raise the multiplier, so we did, we was glad.
sure. You know, I put in nearly 27 years, but I never was contributory, or I would've doubled.
Yeah.
You know, just being $25 a pay period or whatever. At that time, I couldn't afford it, so.
Between my Lotfi and my April's time, I had 31 years.
Right,
Because I was able to roll the April's over in the Lotfi.
right.
As far as the time goes, but I'm still gonna be, I'm getting a separate check from April's, cause I just had 5 years, well, I was just got
Just vested.
vested, yeah.
Right,
And, but I was able to roll my time over into Lotfi.
right,
But I'm still getting a separate check, which I'm on the drop with April's.
right.
What year did we go with this new format on this budget? You probably, well, we may have burnt the record last week.
It was just right before Sherry.
I was gonna say, the last year Sherry was here, in my computer was when this new format.
You got the old format? still on your
Yeah,
computer?
her old ones, yeah.
Yeah,
You wanna go back to?
Yes. yes.
Yeah, she moved it to this one, she said, at the notes in there said the council wanted it broke out like this, but I don't know.
I don't remember saying it.
That's not
I
nothing in
think-
the minutes, she just made notes for me.
I think, well, some of that was, we wanna know what cell phones were getting paid and how much they were getting paid. And then she just run with it, that she bought everything.
Yeah, yeah, I
Because-
mean, I'm all for going back to, cause it's a simpler budget. This is
I mean, this is
crazy.
Yeah. that's what I was saying earlier, this is a crazy number, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you take away from here to pay Paul and it don't make any sense. None.
yeah.
How many, well, I know that's, what all's in the, where does the cell phones come in at? Do you know, I mean, in each department, or what line item is it?
So, yeah, whenever you're looking at your administration budget, like for instance, there at the second page, after the cover. It comes under it's gonna come under the, supplies expense. Or I'm sorry, yeah, the, not the supplies, but professional service expense. So your services your professional services and fees, it's not broke down to cell phones, there's other things included in that. So like, if there's copier repairs, our network security comes under that, our,
Like, so 38,000, that's what you're showing, $38,000?
and that's on the city side, and then the water side has an administration part too. Find it here.
So your cell phone bill is $38,000 a year?
No,
Oh,
that's everything with the copier, network, internet, cell phone,
Okay.
yeah. All the professional services
I
and
got
fees,
lost there
yeah.
for a minute. I'm sorry.
No.
I started saying, "Ooh, I
We'll
got
just
you."
go back to carrier pigeon.
Yeah.
Well, how do we decide who gets a phone, or who gets,
So there are, most of the employees carry their own phone, so like, like in this, it'll include like mine and the mayor's phone, because we use it for work.
Not mine.
We get a, we get a,
I don't get one.
we get a,
Where's yours at?
$30
In the safe in
stipend,
there.
Oh, you don't
which
use
is
it?
included in there. So the people that use their own phone, if it's a work, like that, the ones that get a phone, some of them are also the tablets they use for line location and stuff and things like that, so that's
Who owns
included.
the other tablet? Brandon? That should be the-
Brandon, I was thinking there was 3 tablets on that.
Brandon and, Chris, code enforcement officer.
Yeah, that's who it is, there's 2, Brandon and Chris.
I wish we had a breakdown on how much we spend a year on cell phones, just on phones.
But some of the
I can-
employees, you're paying some of the employees,
There's a stipend, so like, not paying their thing, so like I get a $30 stipend, cause I
Right.
use, yeah.
You should get 45.
Or
Yeah,
45,
yeah,
I get
45.
45, I'm sorry, yeah, and
Everybody else
like
gets
Brandon
30.
gets 30 and, yeah.
right? And that's cheaper than putting radios
I
in the truck.
don't wanna read
I'm
my
just
house.
curious,
My
yeah.
kids wanna get called all the time.
You know.
They got called out last night.
Right, no, I,
Cause I know the county had county radios and everybody was assigned a number and like road R10 for the road department, 10, 14. And then they just kinda left and they started calling us on these,
Well,
you know.
most of the reason for that, most people, probably all of them that get that phone, like Logan Tuttle, he gets called quite a bit at home.
Right.
we've got a water break.
Yeah, you know, that's what I'm saying, I understand that side of
We
it,
got called out last night.
you know. I'm just saying, I know the county went away from their radios,
The radios.
just started calling us,
Mhm.
you know,
The radios are obsolete.
and they were, you know.
But I guess what I'm getting at, if you don't answer your phone, you shouldn't get a phone check.
Yes.
And there's several of them don't answer the phones, cause my kid
I
gets
don't
all the
get
calls.
mine, but I answer my phone.
Yeah.
Love, don't want to sometimes when I see who it is. I have to, yeah, hello.
Yeah.
One,
Well, if y'all are calling some of these boys and they're not answering their phone,
one question, Mayor, if, just say some residents in town don't have a city worker's phone number about a water break, are they allowed to call the dispatch office
Yes.
and report that they have one in their yard or
Yes.
home? Okay. In case I get asked or something, I'll tell them, let them know that they're welcome to call the dispatch notice.
Sure.
Usually at nights and on weekends, that's how we get notified from dispatch.
Okay.
That's good information,
Okay.
I personally don't have anything else.
Anything specific anybody wants changed, or anybody wanna make a motion to pass the budget?
so later down the road, you just say you think they put in $20,000 too much on the line item. You can't take that back if you pass the budget, right?
But if we don't need it, we don't spend it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying,
Right,
yeah,
I know what
I'm
you're
just
saying.
asking, I mean.
Yeah,
And then it would be reallocated next year, you know, okay, we know 20,000, we're not gonna need that, we can put it somewhere else. And we can amend it during the year if we see, hey, we're not spending any money on this line item, and we've got this urgent situation here. The council can amend it
Well, we just do
to,
$1,000 across the board per line item, and then if they amend it, we'll amend it. That's the easy way to do that.
do $1,000.
Yeah. Amend
The utilities cost like $1,000 a month, so
Yeah.
you're gonna be amending it every month.
it, but do 12,000. I mean, instead of, I don't know,
Well, that,
there's gotta be a way to do it instead of saying, oh, you got $46,000 here for a $10,000 uniform. It don't make any, again, it don't make any sense to me. I'm not in the mood for, I don't wanna give an open checkbook, cause that's not our money. That's the city of Waldron's money.
which is why a budget is very important. And why it's required by law for us to have is because we've gotta be able to show the city of Waldron we're being good managers of the money that's coming in and using it for things for operating the city.
does anyone wanna make a motion to read the resolution on the budget?
I make a motion, read the resolution on the budget.
And second,
I second.
all in favor with aye,
Aye.
opposed, same motion. Okay, Mr. Brad, if you'll read the resolution.
Resolution number 2023-03, a resolution appropriating funds for the 2023 operating budget for the city of Waldron, Arkansas, and for other purposes. Whereas the City Council of City of Waldron, Arkansas received the proposed budget for operation of the City of Waldron for the year 2023, and whereas the City Council members have reviewed the budget and wish to appropriate funds for the 2023 operating budget. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Waldron, Arkansas, Section 1, the attached represents an appropriation of funds in the 2023 operating budget for the City of Waldron, Arkansas for the year beginning January 1 and ending December 31. It reflects anticipated revenues and estimated expenditures as set forth in the attached hereto, identifies pages 1 through 43 and made a part hereof. All revenues herein are estimated and subject to change, and all appropriations are calculated based upon available funds.
Is there any more discussion on the budget? I would entertain a motion to vote on the budget.
I'm motion to vote on the budget.
A second,
I'll second.
we've got a motion and a second, all in favor with aye? Well, there's no ayes to vote, so that fails. Start from the beginning. Y'all tell us what you want us to do.
How much money we got in our CDs? You got any idea?
We have a sanitation CD, number 504418, has $32,734.85. That's the one and only CD that we've got. Yes.
How much did you say we had carry over? 2.7 million?
Total, carryover is 2.7 million. That includes everything.
How much cash on hand can we switch over to CDs?
Well, we've got, in the general account, we're carrying over $547,330. The sanitation account, we've got $54,249.
You say 54?
Mm-hmm. Street fund, $82,054. Warrant, well, yeah, that one's not good, because we just, drug control fund, we got 12,476. I mean, everything except for, let's see, the 363,184 does not count, because that's a bond. 175,360 is a bond. Rescue Act's 244,764. So if we have 1.8 million, that's taking out the bonds, the grants. Actually, I didn't take out the $9 CARES Act, but, we have 1.8 million, but that's all operating funds. That's on the city side. And then on the water side, you have 746,000 that's operational funds, cash on hand right now, taking out the street or the water and sewer bond.
It's around 2.4 million. And what's our actual cost a year to run the city? You know, off the top of your head?
The cost per year to run the city would be, well, if we just, I didn't add up the budget side, but if we went by this, it would be. Just shy of $1 million.
To run the city?
That's
We
why,
got $500,000 in police salaries.
this must not, receipts credits must not count salaries on that financial report. I don't know why it wouldn't, though. Let's see, I'll just add them up over here. That's one of the things I wish was on this budget format was the total page, but. So let's see, we got one.
Salaries will only be $1 million.
Over $1 million. Place. Stay out of that first one.
So 5.9 million is what our total spent last year was. That includes everything, fire truck, police truck, everything. 5.929 exact.
You got paperwork from last week.
Can you do the sanitation fund for me real quick? Sanitation fund. I know it costs a lot to get rid of our garbage and all.
What are you wanting on it?
It cost us $688,000 to get rid of solid waste, right? Am I reading that right, or?
Right, but, does that count the county's half that they pay?
No, that's just our half.
So $1.2 million to get rid of.
Yeah, but right up here it says, transfer station collection, $1,000. What's that?
What is the,
I mean,
so I'm not sure.
I would say that's probably,
their open top, what you collected all year?
$1,000?
Well, that's what they budget. They didn't collect nothing in 2022.
They didn't collect nothing from the open tops?
Well, actuals 2022 zero. Let me see if there was anything
Not sure
put in
what that
December.
is.
I'm just,
Yeah, it might be something that's put in December as a, let me just double check.
Itemized as gate fee.
Do what, it's gate fee?
If it says gate fee in your monthly thing, that's what's actually charged for the people that drop at the station.
So, okay, what do they charge us? I know you.
I just
You
don't
wanna
want
know?
white trash is.
How much they charge us when we take a
Household
load
trash
out,
is
drop it
free,
off?
white trash is.
On average, about $650 a load.
How much?
And then
$650
our open tops
a load on
is
average.
what we're supposed to charge.
Okay, one question, how many times a
City
month do
fee,
y'all,
pickup fee.
do y'all empty from
Well,
more
yeah,
than one or
but
two,
I mean,
more
open
than two?
top at the transfer station.
Average weekly's
They're supposed to collect a
six
fee
trips,
for
average.
me to dump.
Six
Oh,
trips,
oh,
$36,000 a month, a
Bed
week?
or TV,
Right, yeah.
you know, and I didn't know how much they were collecting.
Not 36,000.
3,600.
6 times 6 is
So
36.
service collections for
I'm
sanitation.
using all my toes.
Yeah, that's,
That's
Yeah, that's on here,
3,600.
but it was 30,514, but that's on down. I'm not sure what the transfer station collection is, and it's a zero, cause it's not even
Yeah,
on the monthly report, so I'm
I just
guessing it's
wondered how
something
much
they
we-
don't.
okay, I was just wondering how much we collect on, if you want to call it a gate fee, you know, to come in there.
Service collections, that's something you just said.
Yeah, so 30,514.
We collected $30,000 off the public last year.
Service collections.
Okay, I just wondered, you know, cause I know they don't always charge over there for people that don't. I mean, I know that for a fact. Been there, done that, you know. Just look how we could collect even more if everybody paid that pulled in there, you know, so. But
Yeah.
that's something you gotta be able to track also, so. Cause I know it costs the city to go dump that open top. You know, I don't know, a couple $100.
So you said 600?
no, the open top and
650.
closed top are separate.
Oh, how much
Yeah.
open top?
Open tops usually range anywhere about 180 to 250 a load.
How
They're
much is
anywhere
closed
from-
top?
An open top's usually about 2.5 to 5 tons, depending on how well we can break
So,
it
I
up.
mean, if we're paying $200, we ought to be at least collecting
220.
something to, you know, I mean, to cover that, you know. And maybe we are, I don't know, I was just asking,
Yeah, cause there's,
you know.
there's, disposable reimbursement, there's miscellaneous income, the, service collections, tire collection.
Right. Oh, I was just curious, I mean, you know, so we can make a little bit of money somewhere, you know, or at least break even, you know, cause it costs your driver, your truck, your fuel to go take it, so if you're collecting $300 or $400 on open tops, at least it's paying for itself, and not going in the hole. So, that's just something we can talk about later, you know, it was just a question. But if we collected $30,000 off the public to bring their trash in there, that's pretty substantial, you know.
That's a lot,
It is, so.
you'd think. I mean, for people bringing their trash in, it just seems like a lot of money.
Well, I know I've spent over $100 in there a couple months, you know, remodeling and dumping, and sometimes I'd go in there and we ain't got time to mess with you, you know, but I mean, I've spent quite a bit of money dumping. So, I mean, that could be, I mean, it could be $30,000, that's good. That satisfies me, so.
So, my question is, so no one voted to vote on it, no one made a motion to vote on it at all. So I would like to hear from each individual, what would it take for you to be able to consider a motion? Cause that's the only way we're gonna get anywhere, is each one of you speak up and tell us what we need to do, cause otherwise, we're gonna not have anything and, end up having to answer to the state in February.
Okay, I'll start, I mean,
Okay.
and hopefully my word's right and everything, me being new and everything, before we actually do vote on it, are we allowed to get a copy, like after our meeting, go over what Sherry had in there and look at that and compare it?
You mean the old?
Yeah, the old, like the old or the old numbers, I'm sorry.
Well, this has got your last year numbers on here, and then it's got this year's proposed budget. So it's got 2022 budget, and then it's got the actual what was spent, and then the third column over is the budget, suggested budget for 2023. So that gives you last year's numbers.
I didn't bring.
But
that
as
part.
far as-
How much more did it go up this year?
Is over last year.
Yeah, I didn't bring mine. So last year's budget was what?
So last year's budget, so each one of these is separated different, into individual areas. So general fund, budget last year was $1,683,301. We spent $1,374,620. And, or I'm sorry, not spent, brought in, cause we're talking about revenue, my apologies. We brought in $1,374,620, and this year, we're projecting to bring in $1,842,650. And a large sum of that is because we're, bringing in $547,330 versus $85,551 just in the general fund balance.
How are we bringing it in?
That's income in the bank. That's what's in the bank at the end of the year. So
That's what he's transferring over.
that 2022 budget balance under other revenue on that page, that is the year-end amount that's remaining in that account. And so it's just carried over. That's why in 2022, it shows the budget and the actual amount is the same because it balances out. And then this year, that account has $547,330 at the end of the year. And so that's your revenue,
That 5%, what we talked about months ago,
the water.
yes.
Yes.
Is that in on this budget?
Yes.
That 5%, that $37,000, or whatever you said it was?
Mhm. Yes.
Cause I'm highly against going up on your rates right now.
Well, it's already been instituted because it's an ongoing
And when we get instituted, we pass it to get
When
instituted.
you passed it as an ongoing 5% at the beginning of each year.
I
there's
just
an
think they
ordinance.
asked you not for me to talk about that.
And I told you specifically that we could, and you said, let's table it, and it never got put on there. That's why our agenda meetings, just to explain, are very important to, because what they're set up to do is two things. One, to set your agenda for Tuesday's meeting. So when you come together, you look at what items are on there, do we need to add something, take something away? And the information that's attached to the agenda, it goes with the information needed to vote on Tuesday at the council meeting. So when you take your agenda, that Thursday, you go, okay, these are the items we're deciding on. And we take that agenda, then on Tuesday, you take that information and vote on it. And that's no, there was, because you had said to just hold off on it.
So anyway, how much more is it gonna cost us to run daily operations over for this year versus last year? I mean,
So-
is it $200,000, $300,000 more?
So you're looking at, I'll have to take each one of these to break this down. Because the way that the budget was set up, and I've, like I say, I'm just going off the budget, way it was set up the last year with Sherry, using it, it's set up in a department by department. So administration, we'll just go through it this way, page by page, so you guys will get it and be able to see maybe kind of the big picture a little better. So 2023 administration budget. In 2022, the budget final bottom expenditures was $316,550. We actually spent $269,124, and we're budgeting to spend $311,300 in 2023. So our administration budget went down roughly about 50,000, just under 50,000. Airport budget. The budget for 2022 was 3,700. The actual expenditures was 9,702, and the calculated budget for 2023 is 8,700. And so that area
Went up a couple.
went up. Yeah, we ended up spending about 6,000 over, and if I'm not mistaken, that was on a something had to be repaired out there, but I don't remember what it was. It was prior to me. I think it was right about the time just before I came on.
$180,000 in that account,
In
the airport, unless we spend it all.
the airport has,
Monday when we're done that runway, whatever that is. Well, runway next to the runway.
Oh, the taxi?
Yeah. And we got that many planes coming in now, we got the taxi.
Before that,
the airport just runs out of the general account.
We had,
But you're saying there was
Federal money in
another
there.
account
Yeah,
at
we
one
had-
time?
we had federal money in there. That was a federal grant.
we got a federal grant a couple of years ago.
And we shouldn't use all of it, cause last thing I knew of, we had about 180,000 left in there.
What's this? That I'll have to check on, cause I don't show a account on that, but I'll have to check on the airport account, cause I'm not. I don't know. Okay, on the code enforcement budget, 2022, the budget was 34,950. The actual was 11,935, and the calculated budget is 16,000. And the reason for that is because our code enforcement officers actually paid out of the city now, not a separate.
He should be paid out of the police department. He's a uniformed officer, right? Ain't that right now? Hey, my call was supposed to have got paid out and somebody changed it over.
Before my time. I
Yeah,
don't
cause he carries a badge and he got the ticket.
Well, I mean, our code enforcement has a code enforcement badge.
Yeah, but he had
That's not
a,
a law enforcement badge. He's not commissioned, he's not considered law enforcement.
So
He
we had a
can
big
just write, he can
discussion.
just write,
He can write code tickets,
yeah, like mow your
he
yard.
can't write state law.
So he's paid out what now? We don't have a code enforcement department?
We don't have a code his salary is not paid out of code enforcement. It is paid out of the, city, I believe the city administration, if I'm not mistaken. Is
Why
what,
don't we pay him out of code enforcement salary?
Well, that's not all he does. He runs the recycle
Yeah, I
truck.
seen yesterday.
He does.
But I'm just saying, I mean, if he's gotta take the hit of being a code enforcement officer, that needs to be his number one priority. If he's getting the butt chewing for it.
And he
Instead
does.
of taking, instead of kicking somebody's recycle can over and them getting mad.
I know it.
I'm just tired.
Get my dogs.
Giggle.
Or,
Because that's, I mean, someone's taking Peter to pay, out of Peter to pay Paul, if you're not in the right department.
yeah,
So what is the solution? I mean, you keep saying that, and he's asked for each one of you to give
Well, that's what
your,
we're working on. We're working on, each one of us has got a different thing. Code enforcement needs to work under the code enforcement, if you ask me.
You had a budget for him, right, 34,000?
well, that was
For every-
2022.
Yeah,
But prior to me coming in, they had moved him over to, where he was being paid out city, cause he does other things. Now, where he gets pulled out of, I don't have any issue with moving him around, that's just what was done prior to me coming in. And so I just carried it over, that he was paid out
You
there.
said it was 34,000?
The budget for 2022 is $34,950.
but that's not just salary, that's everything.
No, that's everything, that's not just salary, that's,
But there's no
It's
salary in there.
everything but salary.
Oh, that's everything but salary in there.
well, they used to pay, apparently in 2022, they allotted $10,000 of his salary out of code enforcement. And so, 10,000 of his salary did come out code enforcement in 2022, but they just went ahead and moved it all under the same
Okay.
heading and, or was budgeted to come out, let me back up. It came out in 2021, 10,000 came out salary in code enforcement and was gonna carry on 2022. And at some point, they changed it where it just all comes
So
out
it costs us $34,000 a year to run the code enforcement.
with that 10,000 and his benefits expenses in there, yes. It cost 11,935 was our expenditures to run that department in 2022. That's fuel, vehicle property, insurance, property repairs, vehicle repair, operating supplies, utilities, well, we didn't spend any advertising, but, professional services and fees.
So does that department make money?
No,
It don't.
no.
You don't collect fines or?
Well, yeah, we have a code enforcement over on the
We
revenue.
got how much out of you?
Let's see.
Let's not even talk about
I'm just saying that, you know.
Yeah.
Code enforcement should be making some kind
Yeah,
of,
and I didn't think about that, they do, he does.
yeah, he collects fines.
Yeah, so,
He don't collect them, but
Well,
the courts do.
yeah, the courts do, I understand.
animal control fines and fees was 1570. Plat, let's see, hold on. District court fines, some of those will come under that, depending on what there was 62,000 came in from that, but not all of that's gonna be him.
Right.
Probably the lowest part of that's probably his, so that's what,
Okay.
Well, I mean, what's not him?
not all of the district court fines. Yeah, some of them will be, police side of it.
Well, this should be as big as tickets, these guys, he's got a stack of tickets. That ever prosecute, I don't know
You
who
gotta
does the
get them
prosecuting.
prosecuted first.
Yeah,
No, I would just.
yeah, and Mark said the other day it takes 90 to 120 days to,
Why don't we make them get a community service, not worry about finding them?
Yeah, I'll do community
yeah.
service.
I guarantee there'll be a lot of dishes cleaned out, won't be backing up when it rains.
Oh, yeah. I bet one of the days
Okay,
is
that
bad.
answered my
Okay.
question, I just, you know.
Community service development, this is gonna be, like your, community service contracts, like the money that we pay for services outside of what the city offers. So like Boys Girls Club, Senior Center, they're all offered services. And so that was budgeted in 2022 for 13,610. We actually spent 9664, and actually, we calculated a budget of 13,510. And I do believe, yeah, so that's, if you look, the 1,500 was what was spent, community service contracts. This, 9664 in November, that they had the, senior center in the wrong place when we added that 1,500 back in, was it summer?
Yeah.
I think so. So in December it was added in there, so you could add 1,500 onto that actual.
That's pretty cheap investment.
So 11,164 is actually
No,
your,
that's not all, it's Boys and Girls Club, it's
Senior citizen.
the Senior Citizen Center, there was 5 or 6 things on there.
Yeah, we used to do cost center.
yeah,
I can remember that
and,
number.
and we do CASA still. Yeah,
Okay.
CASA, Senior Center, Boys Girls Club,
We shouldn't give anything to Boys and Girls Club now, we give it to the pool, and
Yeah.
no longer, they don't,
well, we didn't renew a contract for 2023 or anything.
so we'll take that
Yeah,
out of there.
yeah, so that, part of that 5,500 will come out.
And then there's, let's see, Boys and Girls Club is not, let's see, CASA, up on the hill. What else, there's 5 of them. Shop, was it Shop of the Cop one?
It's
No.
got a separate item.
No, that wasn't it.
Area agency.
Area agency up on the hill. Let's see. Don, what all was it? There was a bunch. At one time we give money
Yeah,
to.
I don't remember the.
We went from
fishing derby.
5,000 one year down to 1,500 one year, 500 and back up.
What's all this?
Of course, we had the money then.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
So right now, what's active contract is the senior center, CASA. I think that's the only 2 that's active. We would have to renew.
Well, I don't wanna pay anybody out of community development that we're not, that don't give us a service. I
Right,
don't wanna pay somebody to come out here and tell us how to grow grass.
right, no, yeah.
Gosh, I can grow weeds.
So that would make that, if we just had those 2, that's 3,000, but I think you're right, I think area, I don't think we paid them anything in 2022, so I don't know if their contract's active, but area, for the aging, I think is,
I think she didn't,
we had one before with them.
what's her name come down, Miss Starr come down to see you? That was like for $500 though, wasn't it?
No, it was, I think it's 1,500.
I don't remember.
Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why we didn't pay them. Why didn't we pay them?
Well,
I
That's
thought
not,
we
we didn't
did.
have the money.
if we just make sure they didn't pay something in December.
It was in, I wanna say it was in September.
I can't remember when, but I'm just.
Cause she got me and I said, you need to go over across the creek over there and talk to Dave.
Yeah, I'm just almost positive we did pay them.
Yeah, we paid them, but I don't remember how much it was.
Yeah, it was in December, 1,500, so that would, put us at, 4,500 on what we would need to budget for, if we do those three, or those, actually those four put us at 6,000. If we do area aging.
Area agency, CASA,
Senior center,
Senior center.
and,
this is the same place, isn't it?
They're
Yeah,
the same
area
place.
agency and senior citizens, the same place.
oh, we've got 2 contracts that are active with them.
Well, one of them's assisted living facility.
But I don't think we do anything with that. They pay their own rent.
I didn't remember doing
It
anything.
would just help them. The only reason we ever helped them, because they done Meals on Wheels, and we helped them with oil changes and stuff like that. That's the only reason I ever got any, I mean, as far as electrical and paying the electric and water, no, we didn't do any of that.
It's mainly for Meals on Wheels,
Yeah.
because
And upkeep of the vehicles.
they feed a lot of people.
No, when it, I remember having those the other day, probably been the middle of the day, that
Bunch
delivered.
of-
Yeah, I see them all over the place.
And we can go up there and eat for $5.
Right, I have.
I have too.
Yeah, it's pretty good food.
Well, we can mark that one down to 4,500, cause we got 3 or 2, actually, we've got 2, don't we, that we're keeping active, so 3,000. Okay. District Court, we had a 2022 budget of 89,520, we actually spent 93,567. We calculated budget for 102. And there we could knock down the office supplies and postage. I knocked it down some, in the operating supplies, cause we only spent 189 in that area and budgeted 4,700. So I knocked it down more than half to 2,000. But
Did it go clean?
You only spend how much?
we spent 189, with a 4,700 budget in that area. Previous year, was like right at 3,000 that they spent between both those areas. So that's
3,000 before. Had
in
budgeted-
21.
Had budgeted for 45, only spent 189.
2021 is 3,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2021 was 3,000.
2022 is 189.
Yeah. And he took it back down to 2,000 versus 4,500.
Yeah, I mean, we can,
It could still go down.
what amount you think?
At least 15.
That's what I was gonna say, go 15, then if it goes up to 3,000 again this year, you can come back and ask for something.
So 750 each, is that what you're saying? On each of those areas, make it 1,500?
And then you spend 30.
Alright. And the other, let's see, everything else was pretty close to the expenditure other than the utilities. I left it the same at 3,800, we spent 3,188,
Yeah, that's fine.
but utilities are kind of one of those things that's,
What about the equipment repair and maintenance? You didn't spend anything.
yeah,
When we had that last year, we had like 1,500 for the water plant, and it cost us $30,000 motor, high surface pump. We didn't budget enough.
That's something you can't really tell.
Mm-mm.
yeah.
You
And
just
them pumps are getting some age on them, 30+ years.
It's true.
We could drop that one down to 1,000, if that makes you feel a little more comfortable, or whatever number you're thinking.
They can always come back and,
come back and amend it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, these little things like this, could we not just set them a little bit lower and then amend them if we need to?
That's what I was saying earlier.
Instead
I mean,
of just going
99%
back
of
and
you can-
forth, just kinda, I mean, I know on the bigger things, you can't really do that because you've got to be able to do it at the time, but, I mean, some of these little things, if we put them at like 1,000, what's the chances that you're gonna have to amend them every month? We're not talking about utilities and stuff, we're talking about like supplies and little things like that, postage.
Yeah, that's fine, we can,
I mean, that would be my thought anyway. And then it looks a little bit better anyway.
anything else on the district court? Fire department, budget 2022 is 61,700. Actual 2022 is 40,543. Calculated budget 71,250. And part of that, let's see here. That don't sound like that adds up. Expenses.
Well, that's probably when the diesel's going.
It's like the, what's your on now, the fire department?
Yeah, I guess it does. Yeah, fire department.
But
I mean-
you're bringing it up 20,000 or
10,000 over the, just
Last
under
year.
10,000
over last
over
year?
the previous budget.
Another one's fixing to ask for the radios and stuff, right?
But that's gonna, we're gonna take that out of,
We'll
Where
probably,
that money-
yeah,
Oh, okay.
better take it
That's
out of
good.
there.
Well, I mean, I would just,
yeah,
you know,
That's what it's for.
I don't know.
yeah, and I've been looking for a grant specific to it, similar to what Jeremy found for the,
His radio.
radios for the police, so.
So, are they getting the same, are they the same radio? The one
Now
you
that,
got?
that I'm not 100% sure if it's exactly the same, but they are a win, that's what the,
Instead of FM radios, they will be digital, kinda like.
I thought they,
Yeah, then you can,
I thought the judge had to issue a winds out, cause he was on emergency management. What was all that? Forbes, you wouldn't even get a win unless Forbes would give you one.
And it was that way at one time.
You know, I mean, we just can go buy our own A-Wins, they wouldn't give us,
right,
put us on his,
but I don't know if the police A-WIMs are the same as the fire
I
radios.
don't know, so.
I don't,
Yeah,
I don't think you
I'm not.
Well, the
communicate.
first day wins the police got came from Forbes.
Yeah,
Yeah. But I don't know if the fire department and the police will communicate with the same radio.
right,
Or if it's just,
I
or if
don't know.
it's just for the fire department,
yeah,
They
and
could,
I'm
it'd
not,
just be separate channels.
right?
yeah,
Cause I know Y Cities, you know, they've got A-WIMs and it took a bunch to get them so they could even communicate, you know. There was a big ordeal about that, I don't remember exactly what it was, but they worked it out with a tower or something, I don't know.
and the, on that, the two items that, were cut back, but there's still room compared to what we spent. Operating supplies, budget was 2,000, that we spent 115, we budgeted 1,000 for this year. We could cut it back. Well, we could also do office supplies, postage, it was 100, spent 0, but, and then also the professional service and fees.
And there's some, the dues and subscription and fees for 400 and we didn't spend anything.
Yeah.
So we could cut those back, I mean, and then they could.
Yeah. What number you want to cut that, all that back to?
you know, if they didn't spend nothing, I'd say nothing.
Yeah, and then they could just come to us if
Yeah.
they really needed those,
I mean, I don't blame them. If they ain't spending it, if they need it, they'll come ask for it. nothing in the. Is it, are you on the professional service? Are you up there in subscriptions and dues?
We're just kind of working our way, yeah, we're just kind of all over the fire department page.
'Cause I'm looking at the zeros, I think everything's zero now, and zero at the budget for this year.
You wanna do that with equipment repair and maintenance also?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking.
Fire department.
Just keep in mind with like equipment repair and maintenance, if there's equipment that needs repaired, it's equipment to fight a fire, and so they've gotta wait to call a council meeting to get that.
Right, you buy that.
Alright.
I see. Look at the,
Don't have to buy it, but it's,
and looking on this fire, or listed under fire page deal, I seen where nothing was, used out of the Act 988 this past year too.
Mm-hmm.
Says that was 11,000 2022, and, new budget for 2023 is 10,000.
yeah.
We lost $1,000 somewhere.
No, we didn't lose it, it was just budgeted.
It just went somewhere. It went from 2022 to 11,000 to 23 to 10,000, so we lost $1,000 somewhere.
Okay, I've marked all zeros down to zero. What do you wanna do on like the ones like the operating supplies and professional service and fees, where there was, 115 to 193 spent, we've got 1,000 budgeted, which is on those. You wanna knock those down to right at those numbers, or you wanna take it completely out? What do you wanna do?
Not that much. Said you wanna knock it back down to this? Or 200?
Okay.
Yeah, is that what y'all saying about 200?
200.
It's been 193 last time.
And what about the operating? You want to take it to 200, or you want to take it on down? It's 115, what we spent last year.
You asked for 1,000, just take it back to 200.
Everybody good with that? Okay, Parks and Recreation, we had a budget to 2022 of 10,500, actual 1391 spent. We calculated 7,000. We can carry the same philosophy over and zero out the zeros if we want.
Yeah, because it's the park, and if something were to happen that
Same
needed
way
to be
with the-
fixed, they could come to us and.
Yeah, same way the operating supplies, it's 115, knock it down to zero.
Okay.
I mean, we love our park, don't get me wrong.
A lot of people love the park.
Yes, they do.
All right, 2023 Police Department budget. We can't really knock down the workman's comp, obviously, because it has to be there just for. I mean, we could knock it down some, but we couldn't take it to zero is what I mean,
Oh.
because if someone got injured or something, we've gotta have
I
it.
thought y'all had it officer injured last year. Did you not? Did Colette get injured?
Yeah, he did, I don't let him.
But I believe he, continued doing administrative work or something to offset it, I don't think it,
So he didn't
Costed
use his
us
workman's
extra.
comp. He didn't use his workman's comp.
right.
I was just
Was my
curious.
I
understanding,
thought I
yeah.
seen him back in a patrol car,
He is.
like last month.
Yeah.
Back to
Yeah,
work.
he was here
Yeah.
last week.
Yeah, he was gonna arrest me.
He was gonna arrest
Oh,
her.
yeah,
He almost had her handcuffed.
Wow.
I like the police budget, I mean, I know. Like I said,
All right,
I'll explain to y'all if you ever want to know why.
You can thank the mayor for that, not him.
we went from 76,000 on the health insurance to 90,000. Why?
Well, I carried that over. Remember, 76 is the end of November, so if you take,
How many, let me ask you this, how many we got retired? Retired police officers, we're paying their insurance?
One, I
I
think.
know Steve.
Steve,
It was Clipper, but he reached the age of social security, so he's not in.
okay,
Is that a city policy, police policy that you continue their?
If you put in enough time to draw retirement. And I think it's so many years, I think you can draw retirement at the end of 5 or 10 years.
Yeah, right.
But it has to be so
So
many
many
years you put in with the city, then.
how long Colette been with us?
They got back from Iraq in
Long time.
2011, I believe is when it was, when they come back from Iraq.
He went straight to work for that.
13 years? And Steve was there forever though.
Oh, yeah, Steve
Oh,
was there.
he was there for,
It's
I was
amazing.
just curious.
Thinking, well, might have got hired the same day.
No, cause he got hired, Jimmy Doctor actually
Yeah.
hired him.
Yeah, I remember when Jimmy.
I've been there longer than him.
Right.
Observe out that.
Well, I was
How old
told,
is Steve?
He's older than me. He's 62 or 63.
So he'll be drawing his social security, or is he gonna go to 65?
Yeah, I don't
No,
know.
I mean, I just curious, I went out at 62, and I love it,
Yeah.
you know. But the county didn't pay my insurance my last 3 years. But, anyways, whatever y'all wanna do on that, I mean,
well, I think we need to do some whittling right here, because, I mean, we added $3,000 for utility expenses. Well, actually, a little more than that, or a little less than that.
well, that's,
I mean, and then we
Right.
added,
That's
10,000, a little over 10,000 on other expenses, or right under other expenses. I mean, it just, they're random numbers.
well, remember the utilities, that's through November, so you've got another, 1,000, 1,500 on top of that. So you're looking at,
Our electric bill for the police department, $1,500 a month?
yeah, we spent, through November, we'd spent 17,661 on utilities.
Wow, for the.
That's where one of the typos was, it wasn't 2,000, obviously, for the year, because my house is more than 2,000 a year. But yeah, it's up there.
Seems like a lot.
That seems like a lot.
Cause I got that.
There's only like
big
2
old place
offices,
at the
3
dinner
offices in there, isn't
club here,
it?
and
I
it's-
mean, little offices in the police department. I mean,
My whole daycare doesn't cost that.
holy cow, you ever have a bunch of space heaters over there? That's a lot.
Brad, can you explain to me on, the same page, under police department down there where it went from 24 to 35,000 on, capital purchase or capital outlay, what is a capital?
Capital outlay would be like for vehicle or building purchase. It was at 70 last time, we spent 24,688. But,
so you actually dropped it 40,000.
so I dropped it,
Well, we got a grant too.
yeah, we got a grant, that's why it was
Jeremy
able
got a
to,
grant.
Right.
but,
Well, I think we need to, I mean, we ought to have about everything new now.
Yeah.
Don't think we ain't got news that Toyota, that what's the name drives around, I'd like to have it.
He's still got a couple cars with some miles on them.
Yeah, but, I may be cool, that's old one, but
What are we
we
doing?
got
with that?
SUVs. Who got no SUV? Yeah, everybody but Colette,
And
and
is it,
Jeremy's got the truck.
is it sometime this year, Mayor, where Jeremy's supposed to be getting, I don't know, I think it might be in order, is it sometime this year he's supposed to be getting that other car, it's a different color than white? Is it supposed to be this
Yeah,
year?
it's done been ordered.
Yeah.
But that was, that's
Yeah, that
that grant he fell. I don't think we need to not buy a car this year, just take that out of the budget. I don't think Jeremy hurt his feelings, we got new cars.
Yeah, they got lots of new cars. And this advertising, we could go down to 50 on that instead of 100, cause if they only spent 30 last time.
Now, but on the professional service fees, well, that's one of those we kinda gotta be careful on police department, cause that's lawyers,
Oh, yeah.
and that's advertisement. For, like in the back of a magazine or something, Sherry told me that, reason I asked that a long time ago.
Well, better not do that then. We don't wanna mess with that.
But the advertisement, I mean, it's $30, but the professional service is the one I wouldn't mess with, right
Yeah.
under that. The other ones, I'd just take them away.
On the advertising,
And prisoner costs, that's when we take one like to the doctor, something like that, isn't it?
For prisoner costs, we still have to pay for juveniles.
Oh, yeah, that was what it is. But there was something else Sherry was telling me years ago, we gotta be iffy on, be careful on this that one. Other expenses, miscellaneous, 2,000, we spent $53, zero that out.
sanitation fund.
We had tire collection, we had a budget of $400,
Well, that's what we expected to bring in, yes, and we
we
brought
bring
in
in
$63.
$63.
Yeah, they were on the road.
That's what you was talking about a while ago, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Something like that.
so we didn't take in very many tires.
I think I paid that $63 an hour just by myself. Pretty sure I did. I got kids that like leave their tires around my house.
See, that falls back on accountability. Did they just bring them in there and dump them and you didn't know, no, tires? Yeah, we'll bring them to your house, but I'm just saying that there's accountability there. If they brought in 50 tires, but they didn't collect no fee for it, I don't know what it costs to, I know, like at Walmart, you gotta pay a disposal fee of like $2 a tire, or if you get new tires at Walmart, but, so. If it's $1 a tire, we only collected 63 tires.
I
Yeah.
know. So we collected $63. We budgeted for I don't know,
We budgeted to collect 400.
yeah.
Projected to collect 400. So we were,
Well, look at that, even worse than that is a 1,400 underneath that, and we collected 63 on it.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the totals of those two
Yeah.
areas.
Yeah, I mean, that just don't add up.
That's what I was asking, what's the transfer station?
Yeah, and that's what I'll have to ask, Brandon on that, cause I'm not sure what that is, cause we didn't bring in nothing on it.
Right.
And the previous year, I think it was, right around 500, which is where I pulled that 500 from.
Right.
Cause I was gonna zero it out, but I saw in 21, we did bring in some.
Right.
The tire collection has been the last 2 years under 100, so.
I mean, if we start off with an empty trailer on tires, I don't know how much they're charging per tire to collect, 50 cents or $1.
I think it's $10 a tire, isn't it? No, it's $2 a tire.
So I'm just saying, if you go back to your tire, you go back to your trailer and you've got 200 tires,
I'm not gonna
Say
say
they
anything
collect
unless it's
$400.
in-
you know, there's something.
Trust
Do
me, I
you
think
know
it's
how much
$2.
they collect a
Or
tire?
$2.
The tire return program is a state regulated thing that, say, Eddie, the guys that sell, Steve, down there, anybody that sells tires, they bring the bulk of the tires. Cause they've already collected from their consumer, the fee. current status, it's like I think it's 4 tires a week a resident can bring and get rid of for free. But if you bring a mess of them, it's $2 for a car, $10 for like a truck tire, a lot of loggers, semi-truck tires, tractor tires are like 20. There are fees, but it's rarely that you even gets charged because it's just not a volume. The volume is from the tire dealers in town. And then the TRP program with the state, that goes to Green Source. They're buying them. There's a lot of fuzzy math between Green Source, the state, and the city cause our commingle goes there, the tires go there, aluminum cans go to Davis, so that's separate, but we get a credit back for getting rid of those tires at costs, but we sell them commingle, which offsets the cost of, it's really wishy-washy. But the actual question, collecting at point of recycling is not much. It's like Dave said, if all your kids dumped all their tires and you gotta come in there with 20 of them in one trip, I'm gonna have to charge you for 15 of them at $2 a pop, and that's not that often. It's the tire sales, and I'm telling you, Southside brought 137 of them roughly last week. It's not.
Like $2 a pop?
Supposedly they have already, there's a form they have to fill out with the state that shows that they've done their portion of collecting, recouping that fee. We don't recoup that fee because they already did.
Through the state.
We're just the ones
I
facilitating.
understand that better now.
It's just more of a point for them to bring them to, so that the recycling.
State's already
can
got
get-
their money.
Yeah, they've already collected, so it's not a revenue source for the city.
No, much it costs, and we gotta haul them up there and get rid of them.
It's included, they
We
come pick
don't
it up,
haul.
They come
Oh, they
pick
come
up
down here and
They
get
come
the
in here
tire?
and get
they
it.
bring empties, they take it with, they do all,
Yes.
everything's handled.
But that's just a city service too.
It's really just technically, like you're saying, $100,
Okay,
that's
I understand that.
fair.
You talked, of course, I had two people ask me last week, and you talked about cans, down at the transfer station, are they
Yeah,
still taking
aluminum
cans?
cans,
Are they
yeah.
still taking them? Okay, thanks.
Okay, I understand that part, so, yeah, that's, $63, whatever we probably collected it. So,
It's posted there on the corner.
yeah.
Is there any other questions on the revenue on sanitation fund?
We bring in $714,000, roughly 715,000.
That budgeted in 2022, we brought in 688,000 and, budgeted 718,385 for this year.
How much it costs us to run that? Because, I mean, it's obvious that these numbers aren't right because we didn't charge for containers, certain containers, and we didn't charge for tires. I mean.
Well, the 688,062 is right, that's straight out of the center point. That's right out of there's not, the other two columns are projected. The center column is actual spent.
And then the county probably pays at least that much too, right?
Well, it's, here, county reimbursement's 95,000.
Yeah, the total for the end of the year county reimbursement. Oh, it's right here.
There's three places you're gonna make any money. The dog pound, wastewater, and sanitation.
We're not supposed to make money, are
So the county transfer reimbursement end of year was 110,769. Is what the county paid over the year.
Right.
110,
769. Mm-hmm.
And we got over we're way over $719,000 budgeted.
Right, because that's including an extra month, because that actual, on your budget that's handed out in December
Yeah.
is through November, so it,
I wish we'd had, I wish I'd bring my paperwork. I'd like to know what that costs us for the month.
for the sanitation,
Yeah. I want to get, at least get a mean average of what it's gonna cost us for a
Yeah.
year to run it.
yeah. So let's go back to it here in the financial report. All right, so our expenditures, end of the year was 71,660. Or I'm sorry, that's revenue less, that's what we made over. 611,740 is our expenditures year to date through December, end of the year. So yeah, $7,660 profit at the
So, yeah, I couldn't answer that.
71,660 is the profit, bottom line profit end of the year.
And that's mainly because of sales tax.
Right, cause
Yeah.
you've got your sanitation 1% sales tax. That's your biggest revenue.
It just seems like almost $1 million in sanitation.
Probably is.
Well, I ain't even know what county paid. That's a far cry from $1 million.
I don't know where else they pay. Does the county pay part of the bill when they send the bill back from Fort Smith? Or,
All I know the county pays is this reimbursement.
okay,
I mean, they don't pay, that's it.
so they just pay $110,000 a year. And they're running 2 trucks.
They pay 110,769 is what they paid in 2022.
And we're hauling, did they buy half the roll-off? I don't think so, did they?
Now that's the transfer station. There's the county disposal reimbursement of 79,826.
Yes, I do believe they make half the payment on the roll-off.
No, we bought that roll-off, did we not, or are we leasing that truck?
We leased it with the
Needs to purchase.
purchase, with the option of purchase.
Right.
Okay, so we need to add those two up, what did you say, Brad?
79,826.
79,826.
826 plus your 110,769.
So 192,000.
Yeah, 190,595.
That's still, yeah, we're still over $500,000 in our part. Oh man, they're hauling 2 trucks a day. Or dumping 2 trucks a day. They pay half the salary, William's salary?
Yes.
They pay half the roll-off truck driver too? They do?
So we need to add that in there. Half the salaries, take it out of the budget.
Well-
You know what I'm saying?
Well, then
Did you do
I
that?
have a question. Forbes just gave them a big raise over there, huge, $4 an hour. Didn't he? Didn't? What'd he give them? He gave the,
Roll-off truck?
no, the county hand, he gave the county hand
Oh,
$4.
yeah, I'm saying, no, we.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying,
Yeah,
should, I'm gonna, William and the roll-off truck driver, should they not get a raise from the county too?
oh, I'd love to.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think you hit Forbes, William.
You know what I'm
hit
saying?
Forbes up with that.
well, I mean, you know what I'm saying, if they're giving straight across the board raises, they should have straight across the board raised the 2 city hands that they pay half the salary for. I mean,
Well, that's a lot of fire.
I know that's, I mean, I might,
If y'all wanna vote for it,
Well, I'm just saying,
Why don't you approach Jones for us tomorrow?
I'm just saying, you know, Mayor, I don't even know what city employees make, I don't have a clue. But when them guys got that huge raise, they were, you know,
If they got
they all $31.
$30,000 COVID money.
Huh?
They got $500,000 COVID money, we got 80.
Well, but
Something happened when all that's gone.
anyways, I didn't know, I never asked that question, it just popped in my
I
head
don't know
right
how they
here.
got so much more money.
If they're paying half, they should've got a half a raise. You know, and made it worth their while. You know? But anyways,
So on the sanitation fund, what adjustments are you guys wanting to make it, or does it look good, or?
There's not a lot we can do, I mean, on that.
Yeah.
no,
Really not.
Collection
you don't-
service?
You don't wanna screw that up, cause that just costs too much to get rid of it.
Let's see.
Okay.
Then if we have somebody else come in and start collecting their trash, besides the city or the county, the public's really not gonna like that, you know, so.
So the numbers in parentheses, what does that mean, Brad?
So that means as how much was spent. I'm not sure why, on some of them, on this budget, it's set up with parentheses, some of them aren't. That's, like I say, if I'd had full year to, get acclimated